Hey, good people, welcome back to another live stream. This is an episode of Fix Your Focus Live. I'll be honest, I don't know if this is just going to continue to be a live stream or if this is going to turn into a podcast. We don't know yet, but I'm happy to see you this evening. Tonight, we're going to talk about preparing for a new season. We need to, we need to establish a baseline before we go into I'm not even going to say before we go into a new year, because your new season is not necessarily going to be the equivalent of a new year. What I mean by that is your new season may have already started. It doesn't matter about the date on the calendar. It's all about seasons and transitioning. You're going up another level in your life. Hopefully that is the goal. So tonight we're going to talk all about how you can prepare for that. um let's just go ahead and get into it. So first of all, the first thing we need to understand is that preparation is key when you're moving into a new season, whether that is a new journey, a new juncture in life, maybe you're closing a chapter, you're opening up a new one. All of these things are very important. And so what we need to understand is that preparation isn't about perfection. It's about intentional work, intentional steps forward. You need to make sure that what you intend to do is made very plainly and made very clear, but also at the same time you want to make sure that you carry it out, you walk those steps out. So we're going to talk about those steps that you would create. Also, the other piece to that is trusting that God is guiding you through the process. Here's one thing. I'm gonna get on my soapbox for a second. One thing I will say about the process is a lot of times we want to skip the process. A lot of times we don't even want to think about the process. We just want to create the vision, create our vision board, all that good stuff, right? Get all the pictures, all the feel good words. Wonderful. Make the plan. That's my look. I love a good plan. We want to make the plan. But one of the things that we avoid, disregard, ignore is that process, because we want to hurry up and get to the outcome. And I'm going to be the one to tell you, if you haven't been told already, is that you have to divorce yourself from the outcome. You've got to let it go. You've got to divorce yourself from the outcome, because if you do not, you are going to you're probably going to delay your process. I'm not going to say 100% you're delaying your process, but it's highly likely that you're going to delay the result that you're looking at, because you're going to disregard the process because you're so focused on that outcome. The outcome is none of your business, because if it was your business, you'd already had the outcome. Just think about that. It's not something you can manifest, it's not something that you can control. It's the process that you can control, because you can control whether or not you are entertaining the process or if you are participating in the process. So that's going to be something you want to keep in mind. Um, the first thing we want to do is we want to establish a baseline. We're talking about the process. This is step one in that process. You need to establish a baseline. You need to do a life audit. When we talk about doing a life audit, we're talking about finding out what's your current state? What are you doing now? Where are you now? Because the only way that you're going to be able to really measure progress or see what's working and what's not is to have a baseline. Understand, where are you starting from? We need to figure out, what does the starting line look like? So you're going to ask yourself a couple of questions. This is going to be questions that you actually have to do some deep thinking about, because if you don't, you're going to shortchange yourself in that process. So, the first question you want to ask yourself is, what is working? Write down the things that are working. Write it down, type it out, however you see fit. But it needs to be written down, because you're going to come back to this on a regular basis, because this is your baseline. This is your current state. This is how you're going to be able to measure whether or not you are experiencing progress, whether or not the steps that you are taking after you establish this baseline are working, or whether they are not. So, first thing you're going to do is you're going to establish that baseline by asking yourself, what is currently working in your life? Whether you want to pick a certain area of your life and focus in on that, or you just want to focus on, or not focus, but you want to just look overall, your life overall, in all areas of your life. Now, there are 10 areas in your life that you can think about. Let me pull those up real quick. And one thing I will say that I find very helpful is there is a life assessment, a life score assessment that you can take. I have it linked in the description below. But if you take that life score assessment, it's really it's by Michael Hyatt. He does a really great job in kind of explaining all areas of your life and then figuring out where you stand. Again, it's another way to establish the baseline, right? So let's see here. Life score assessment. We're going to talk about the 10 areas of your life. So yeah, I not just, but I dropped down that link below. 10 areas of life. I hope y'all doing good tonight. All right, so this isn't pulling up what I wanted to look at, but there is your health, there is your career, your relationships, your finances, education, spirituality, social life, um, personal growth, environment, and recreation. Those are your 10 areas. Okay. So that's something you can Google that. I just did. You can Google it, figure it out, and figure out what area you want to focus on. Now, when we're talking about like your, we'll say health, for instance, you can even break that down into physical health versus mental health. That may be something you break out and you focus on something to that effect, or maybe you focus on both. But you want to make sure that you are figuring, like you're doing some reflection over however long of time. Like if you're like, let's say you're late 30s, getting ready to transition into 40s, or maybe you've had a life change and you're like in that transition period, this is a perfect time for you to do that. You want to figure out, where am I right now before I start talking about where I want to be. I need to figure out what's my baseline, what's working right now. So the next question you're going to ask yourself is, what's broken? What's not working? What is hot garbage? What is a dumpster fire? What is going on in life that I do not like, I do not appreciate, and I don't want to experience any more of it? That's going to be a question you're going to want to ask. These are great journaling opportunities. Listen, things like this is what you journal about on a regular basis, so that when you're going into a new trend, like a new season, you're going through a transition, it's a lot harder to do it if you like the first time you do it and you've never done it before. That's probably going to be the most challenging time to do something like this, because you're like, man, I got to think like how far back and all of that. But if you do this on a regular basis, I'm saying maybe quarterly, maybe monthly, every time it's a bad day, whatever. You want to do this on a regular occasion. That way you are constantly measuring where progress is taking place and where it's not. So we're going to ask ourselves, what is broken? What's no longer working? That's going to be something you need to ask yourself. You need to reflect, write down. Okay. Then what needs your attention? So there's a difference between something being broken and something needing your attention, because everything that's broken or everything that's not working, you're not going to be able to really focus on everything at the same time. So you need to pick an area of your life that needs your attention right now, whether it's your relationships, whether it is your career, whether it is your health. You need to pick an area. Make sure you are focused. Make sure you are intentionally choosing an area in your life for you to focus on. And then you want to ask yourself, like, what's holding you back right now? What are some things that are holding you back? Is it fear? Is it procrastination? Is it laziness? Is it lack of time? Is it lack of energy? Is it lack of focus? Is it unclear priorities? All of those things. Maybe, look, maybe it is all of those things. Write this stuff down. Again, be sure to take that life score assessment, because that'll be very helpful for you as well when it comes to doing this life audit. But that's going to be your first step when it comes to preparing for a new season. You want to make sure that you are starting with a life audit so you can establish a baseline. We need to figure out, where's our starting line. The other thing to that is you want to make sure you're focusing on one area. Focus on one area to rebuild rather than trying to rebuild everything. Because 9 times out of 10, you've tried to rebuild everything, it did not work. And then you probably gave up on the whole idea of it, or just got distracted. Let's not fall into that trap anymore. You can't fix everything at once. You have to fix it one step at a time. And remember, there are areas in our life they're in like they're interwoven, right? So by nature, when you're focusing on one area, it's going to start improving the other areas that's connected to it. So if you focus on your health, then your relationships are going to become better because you're going to start feeling better, right? Also, maybe your career gets better because you're able to focus more, you're able to do more, right? So focus on one area, get that to a point where you can sustain it at the standard that you want to sustain it at, and then move on to the next area of life. Don't try to fix everything at once. For instance, maybe you're juggling too many things, too many responsibilities. Then you can start by delegating some of those responsibilities out. Maybe you can learn how to properly delegate and put boundaries around your time. This is going to be something that's going to be important for you. The next thing is doubting. Listen, after we've established a baseline, we have to stop with the doubt. And like stop with the doubt, but also don't allow doubt to stop you from taking action. Because the reason why you're doubting is because you do not have the data. If you want to experience a change, if you want to experience a transition, then you have to learn how to take action, even if you're doubting. Um, Even if you're experiencing fear, even if you're not 100% sure on how things are supposed to go, you still have to take that action because that's the only way you're going to get the data that you need. That data is what's going to give you what you need in order to figure out which way you need to pivot, or maybe you need to continue on the route you're doing. An example of this would be in Nehemiah. Nehemiah faced opposition from the start. If you read the book of Nehemiah, then you know this. If you haven't, it's a great book to read, whether you're in business in terms of entrepreneurship, you're a business owner, or even if you're in your career. If you're neither one of those, it's still going to apply to you because life at this point is a business. So, um, but yeah, Nehemiah, he faced obstacles from the get go. He had a lot of, things that were already in his way. He already had a lot of blockers. He did not let that stop him. He didn't let doubt, he didn't let fear. He had a lot of people talking about him, talking in his ear, all of those things, but he still took the next step. So you want to make sure that you identify what it is that's stopping you. Identify the fear or the doubt that's keeping you from taking action. It's keeping you stuck. That could be something as simple as fear of failure. That could be feeling like you're unqualified, feeling unfulfilled. Um, Maybe you just don't feel like it, so you're stuck in your feelings. And that's a whole different issue. But that is aligned with this conversation. So you want to identify what it is that's keeping you stuck. Once you do that, you have to immediately counter it with action. Action is the only thing that's going to cure all the mess that's going on up in your head. A lot of times, the reason why we get so stuck is because we're doing a lot of thinking, a lot of assuming. We have a lot of assumptions going on, but we don't have data to back it up. And because we don't have data to back it up, we think, well, what I'm thinking, it's got to be true because it just makes sense. Sometimes things just don't make sense. So you want to make sure that you taken action so that you can clearly get data and you can either prove yourself right or you can prove yourself wrong. So your ability to start something new and commit to it, even if it's small, like do that. It can be something small, it can be something manageable. You still need to do it. And then also create like a wins journal. A lot of times we forget about the things that we've done because we get so involved in just doing the thing. We don't say, oh, we don't go back to see what was the result of that. Something as simple as having a conversation with someone and they've had a light bulb moment and they only got that light bulb moment because you was there to kind of be their sounding board. That is something to write down as a win because that result could be the difference from them making a big move in whatever, whether it's their career, whether it's their business, whether it's in their life, and them not just being and them just staying in the same spot and being stuck. So you still want to take the action because you don't know what could happen. You don't know what the potential is. And instead of relying on what you assume to be true, because a lot of times our assumptions are naturally negative, instead of sticking on that negative side, take the action so you can prove right or wrong what you were assuming. So, yes, create a wins journal. Every time you have a win, you're going to write it down. With that win, you're going to also come back and review it. Because when you write down those small victories or large victories, medium sized victories, that has helped boosting your confidence for you to continue to take more and more action. And it gets you out of the assumption arena and into the action arena, because that's where you need to be. That's where you're going to get your data. It's also going to help you encourage, or it's going to encourage momentum and also help you boost that momentum. So we're going to journal our small wins, our medium sized wins, and our large wins. We're going to journal it all. We're going to write it down. Even and not even with the journal, you can do something as simple as putting it on a post-it, and then have all the post-its like in a specific spot. Like I have a whiteboard behind me. I can put all my wins like in a corner of the whiteboard. So every time I come into my home office, I already see my wins. And that's going to encourage me to continue to take action and say, you know what, this is not for nothing. What I'm doing, it matters. All the things that go through our head and we're like, it don't matter if I don't do this. It don't matter if I show up today. It don't show up. It don't matter if I show up this week on YouTube or on Facebook. Nobody's watching it anyway. No, you better get your behind on that YouTube and put out the content. You don't know who's watching. You don't know you don't know how valuable your presence is in the information that you're providing. This could be the difference between somebody making a huge mistake in life and somebody making a huge success out of life. So do the thing. Paul, in Philippians, there was a period in Philippians when he was talking about being content, being happy, being, grateful for the things and where he was right then and there. He took time to be mindful about those small wins, those medium-sized wins, those large wins. He was doing a very dangerous, I won't say occupation, but he had a very dangerous mission because he was out to share Christ with the Gentiles, people who were like making fun of him, talking about him, doing all kinds of things. But he already stated that, listen, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. The reason why he's saying that is because he's saying, listen, he called me to do this. This is something if this is something you're called to do, then you already have everything you need in order to move in it. And you're fulfilling your purpose. This is your purpose, then it would be foolish of us not to, be courageous and take action because we're doing it out of faith and we're saying, listen, I know this is what I'm called to do. This is my assignment. I am 1000% sure that this is what I'm supposed to do. And even if it's not, even if I have misstep, I am trusting that God is going to put me back on the right path. But he's going to do that through me taking action. It's not going to be something, it's not going to be like, oh, you're over here, let's move you over. No, it's not going to be that. You got to actually do that. You got to take the steps. You got to take action. So that's what we're doing. We're taking action. Regardless of the doubt, regardless of the fear, we are taking action because we understand that we're moving into a new season. And with that, we need a new mindset. You have to take action. That's part of the mindset that you're going to have. So what we've covered so far is that we are setting a baseline. We're going to do a life audit. What's working? What's broken? What's not working? What are we going to do about it? All of those things, okay? And then I think the third question on that is what needs your attention? So we're picking a focus. After we have picked our focus from, setting our baseline, we're then going to take action. The action is going to allow us to get the data that we need to figure out if it's working, if it's broken, or if something else needs our attention, okay? It's connected. So next up, we're going to make a practical plan. Notice I said practical. The plan, you cannot wing it. Nehemiah didn't wing it. When he was rebuilding that wall, he did not wing it. So we need to make sure that we are not winging it. You need to have a plan. You need to make sure you know what resources you need. Take action to rally those resources. So this is resources in money, resources in time, resources in energy, resources in money. Did I already say money? I think I already said money. Resources in human capital. So, the people, you need skilled people. You need people who are going to be partnering with you to help you move your mission forward. So He knew what he needed to succeed. You are responsible for making the plan and having a clear understanding of what it is that you need as well. Okay, so we're going to do that. We're setting clear goals. We're going to do a goal setting workshop here coming up soon. There's a reason why I haven't said anything about a goal setting workshop or goal setting like specific steps, because let's be very clear. Yes, we're in this season of setting goals and we feel like, new year, new me. I'm so excited. But I'm going to be really honest with you. Most, not all, most people, they give up after January 16th. And then they probably don't get like, they hit that dip around January 16th, February 1st. And then it's not probably until like April, Mayish, because spring has sprung or is springing. Then they get that, reset vibe again, right? So I am playing my goal setting workshop. Those cards, I'm playing them. They're close to my chest. I'll let you know when it's available. I'll let you know when we do it. It's going to be a full like workshop. We're doing work in this workshop. But there's a reason why. It's because also with goals, a lot of people don't understand how to really set goals. They think that it starts with what they want, but there is so many things that you have to do beforehand. And a lot of times they miss all of this. What we're talking about now, you're already starting to set the foundation before you even set your goals. You have to set that foundation. So when it comes to making a practical plan, you need to set a clear goal. You need to write down what it is that you want to accomplish in this season. The season does not mean like the year. We're not talking about in 2025. What do you want? Because your new season can start in 20 minutes. So write down what you want to accomplish in this season of life. Is it that you want to get clear about, your routine? Do you want to organize your schedule? Do you want to, work on your health and maybe create a new not workshop, goodness gracious, workshop on the brain, but you want to, create a new workout routine. Maybe you want to hire a trainer. You got to figure out all the things you want to like focus on your health. That's basically what you're doing because I'm getting into the steps. Um, Maybe you want to rebuild like maybe your morning routine or your evening routine, whatever. Maybe you want to like just redo like what you and your family do for the holidays. Maybe that's something you want to focus on right now. Whatever it is, you need to write it down. So we're writing it down. And then you're going to divide that goal because you got to break it down. Keep in mind, we low key, high key doing a goal setting situation here. But you're going to break that goal down. You need to break it down into 3 to 5 actionable steps because you're going to write down a vague goal. You're going to. So let's go ahead and write down what it is that you want to accomplish in this season. And then let's break it down. We're going to break it into 3 to 5 action steps. So maybe it's block off 1 hour to organize your priorities. That can be part of organizing your schedule. Maybe it's eliminating one distraction from your day. Again, part of organizing your schedule. Maybe it's planning your week with focus blocks of time or for what matters most. That's me breaking down the organize my schedule goal. Those are 3 steps. And those 3 steps are not something that you would take lightly because I know a lot of people where it takes a lot for them to block off 1 hour to organize their priorities. Sometimes it's me, but let's just be clear. Like it may seem simple, but that doesn't mean that simple is easy. Sometimes simple is some of the most difficult things you can do. Okay. So there's that. Then you need to find an accountability partner. This is going to be the most important thing because if you've had trouble with accomplishing goals, if you've had trouble with carrying out what you said you were going to do, like keeping a commitment, then you've already proven that you can't be trusted. You've already proven you can't be trusted. So you need an accountability partner. You need someone who's going to be in your business saying, listen, you said you was going to do this and you said you was going to do this by this time. Where is it? How come you haven't done it? What have you been doing instead? What have you been like? Why have you been procrastinating? What are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Why are you scared? What's the worst thing that can happen? You need someone who's going to ask you challenging questions and also remind you the promise and the commitment that you made to yourself. Okay. So those are going to be the three things that we start off with. We're going to, like, again, these are three simple steps, but they are not the easiest steps because you have to actually make time to do your life audit and figure out what's working, what's broken, and what needs your attention. That's step one. Step two, you need to make the commitment to take action to get data, regardless of the doubt, regardless of the fear. Identify what's keeping you stuck. That's step two. And then step three, you're going to make a practical plan. It's going to be a practical, action packed plan. So you're going to write down the goal that you want to accomplish for this season, and then you're going to break it down into 3 to 5 action steps. 3 to 5. If it takes more, that's fine. But you're going to break it down into 3 to 5 action steps. And for each one of those action steps, you need to identify what resources do you need. What partners, what kind of partners will you need? What kind of money, what kind of time, what kind of energy, what kind of focus? Like, where are you going to spend a lot of your time? Are you going to put it in a planner? Are you going to put it in the digital calendar? All of those things. And just understand that with all preparation, God honors preparation. He honors intentional effort. You have to be sure that this is something that you're going to commit to. Don't sit there and say you're going to do something and you're not going to do it. Don't do it because it's the beginning of the year or the end of the year and it just seemed like something fun to do. It it's not about the party. It's not about the the high you get from cutting up all the pictures and cutting up all the words. No, you actually have to have a legit plan. If you don't have a legit plan, then you're wasting your time. You're wasting other people's time. You're wasting your energy. You're wasting a lot of stuff. So take one step today, even if it's small. Take one step today, the first step, and write down one area of your life where you're going to focus on it. So you're going to start with the life audit. You're going to figure out where you need to focus. Where do you need to rebuild? Where do you need to refocus? Figure out what's working, what's broken, and also what needs your attention. Once you do that, you'll start building up that momentum. As you build up the momentum, you're going to figure out where's the fear coming from, where's the doubt coming from, and then you're going to make your actionable plan. Okay. So that's all that I have for you all tonight. I will see you all soon. Here's to fixing your focus. Good night.